find the concussions so interesting because in diving, they're very prevalent as well because you're hitting the water at 60 Ks an hour. Or if you make a mistake, that whiplash you're talking about, I've had one before when I learnt a handstand dive. And it was the first time I ever done it. I pushed, come around, did the twist, and I got whiplash on the water. And it really set me back. And you wouldn't even realize, I suppose, with diving that concussions are quite prevalent, but we go through them when you make mistakes or you wipe out and things like that. And I've seen some really weird symptoms, even in some of my friends. I had one mate who got a concussion, again, on one of the handstand dives, and he couldn't like fathom dates for like 6 months. Like he just couldn't understand them. Like it didn't make sense to him.
What were your symptoms?
I was very lucky.
Yeah.
I've never had, touch wood, I've never had a really bad concussion.
Yeah.
I have been hospitalized for one before. Then they ran through all the tests and I was good to go. I have had experiences where they've ran us through those testings that you're talking about. Like what they do for us in diving as well is we do concussion tests, so we get the baseline.
Yeah, we did the
and
same.
then they compare that if they think you have a concussion. And all that information can be really useful. But yeah, I've seen some really weird stuff that happens to your brain when it gets knocked.
It's wild because everyone's different. Everyone reacts differently, so you can't, and that's why it's so hard to enforce policies and procedures, because you can't apply a one fix all method to each different scenario.
And what's even worse is when you're going through that list, it's like, do you feel a bit off? Well, maybe.
Yeah, yeah, man.
Like, do you feel tired? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I trained, like, but I suppose if you get one really bad and you feel your head throb and you know that you're not all right, it'd be easier to tell. But I think maybe the ones that aren't super bad, you could nearly pass off as just, I'm tired, I feel a bit off. Like, it's so hard to diagnose.
Well, man, even like you're talking about like micro concussions.
Yes.
Yeah? And so in rugby league, right, you've got, say, running off a kickoff, the one team kicks the ball to the other. You've got two guys. You got one guy who's running as hard as they can into a whole team who's might be also 100, 110, 120 kilos. The G-force that's in that contact is incredible, right? And so you're going to have like some micro concussions there. But that's just part of the game. Like that's just it's just the way it is. And I imagine in diving, you're, like you said, you're hitting the water, which is like concrete at like 60 kilometers an hour. Of course, there's going to be like some sort of, brain movement in there, but it's part of the sport.
The other thing I've seen massively change from the years is when I first started diving, no one ever spoke about concussions. No one ever thought about it. We didn't do any concussion testing. And then bring it to today, we do concussion testing. If you even feel a bit off, I remember my neck was sore a few weeks ago. And my physio was like, you got to go to the doctor to do the test. Like, my neck's sore, I'm fine, don't worry about it. Like, go. And
Just give me a massage, I'll
you're
be
not
fine.
getting it until you go. I was like, okay. Yeah. So I went and it was fine. But they're really vigilant now, way more vigilant than they used to.
But I'm a fan. I'm a fan that they're taking it seriously, and I'm a fan that there's more research happening. Like, to be honest, mate, we're so early days. Like we're in such the infancy of researching concussion, and there's some really great studies that are happening at the moment, and I love learning about that. But it's a new space, and so I think I would much rather take the precautious side of things rather than just to keep playing.